right, before the break, we were talking about standardized testing in a lot of public schools across the country. Well, one Pennsylvania mother decided to take action by opting her kids out of state testing. Our Susan Candiotti has her story.
Silence, everyone. These third graders at State College, Pennsylvania are poring over their standardized exams. Looks like the test books are about as big as some of the kids. And listen to the required instructions for these 8-year-olds.
You read the first passage set and the selected answers to other questions. You will read the question and write your answer on the lines provided in your booklet.
As students dig in, a fellow classmate is happily constructing Legos. Neither he nor his big brother, working on an independent study, are taking the test. Their parents said, forget it.
I believe that the tests are wrong. I believe that they're hurting children. I believe that they're hurting children, not just my children, but they're hurting children across this country.
Their mom, Michelle Gray, is opting out of the 2-week-long standardized test required of every public school under No Child Left Behind. It's a controversial law aimed at making sure schools measure up. The opt-out parents say the stakes of passing the test are too high for schools, forcing teachers to spend way too much time teaching to the test.
And we've turned children into data points as opposed to learners.
In Pennsylvania, students must take it every year, grades 3 through 8.
That's just insane. That's cruel.
In 2014, if 100% of students don't pass, a school's funding could be slashed. For this year, this parent is opting in, but that could change.
It's a dilemma. It's a moral dilemma for a parent.
Here at Park Forest Elementary, a school awarded for excellence, no one opted out of the test last year. This year, with parents beginning to organize, 9 of 500 students are not taking the test. Penn State Altoona education professor Timothy Slickar opted out his 5th grade son and told other parents how they could do the same.
Most parents didn't even know this was their option because, the state and the federal government does not want parents to know that that's an option.
President Obama acknowledges the tests need revamping, but still sees their value.
We don't need to know whether a student can fill out a bubble. We do need to know whether they're making progress.
Critics say opt-out parents are coddling kids who need to be more competitive than ever.
Good luck.
A test of wills that has some students sitting on the sideline. Susan Candiotti, CNN, State College, Pennsylvania.
All right, joining me now to talk about the importance of this state testing is Pennsylvania State Senator Vincent Hughes. Good to see you, Senator.
Hey, Frederica, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. All right, first of all, explain what is the goal, in your view, of these standardized tests? What do they ask students? What are they testing them on? And why is it necessary?
I think we need to know exactly where our students are with respect to how they're achieving. We need to look at these testings, not just testing, but as a measurement. Where are they? How are they learning? How are they progressing? And are the curricula and the standards and the techniques utilized to teach our young people these days, are they working? Are they effective? We spend a lot of money on education, and we want to make sure that the investments that we're making really have the impact that we really want them to have.
So how are these standardized tests different or even complement the kind of quizzes that are conducted in a classroom on a regular basis, the essays, the reports that a child must do based on the teacher's, curriculum for that class? How do they work in concert or potentially conflict?
Well, I think they work in concert. I think testing, and I think the way we look at it here in Pennsylvania, which is, I think, consistent with most other states, testing is just part of an overall assessment of what is happening with our young people and what is happening in the classroom. You look at the tests, you look at the grades, you look at the other means and techniques utilized to assess student achievement, and then you can modulate what's happening in the classroom, and you can especially modulate what you're doing with that student to get us all to the standards that we really want all of our children to be achieving it.
Okay, so you're a big advocate of this. Then why is it we're hearing, as we saw in these pieces, so many parents, even educators, who are saying that this is not a good thing for students, that it is the equivalent of stress-inducing, that this does not encourage deep learning or deep thinking? why is this kind of language being associated with standardized tests when you're saying that only good can come from it?
Well, what I think is important is that testing cannot overwhelm the importance of the other activities that should be happening in a classroom. We need to be teaching young people how to think critically and how to be analytical and how to take data and put it all together to make sure that we can create a better...
And these tests, you say, help do that?
That testing can be a part of that. If you're spending all the time as a teacher just teaching to the test, that's not a good thing. I think it's only detrimental. We need to make sure that students understand the subject matter that they're learning in, but we also need to make sure that the critical thinking and the analytical thinking becomes part of the process.
So why is it that some jurisdictions, including many districts in the state of Pennsylvania, are allowing parents to opt out? If the state feels that these standardized tests are so complementary of education, why even give families an area to opt out and continue to get educated in public school settings?
Look, we believe that, families have a right to be the leaders in determining how their children get educated. And so consequently, they have the right to opt out of the testing. I think there's a concern, however, that, I've got kids also, and I want to know how well my students, my children are performing. I want to know how well, not just from my own individual needs, but I also think as a society, we want to know, with the over $600 billion that we invest as taxpayers in education, that we get an assessment, that we understand, and that we can make sure that our children are learning and can compete internationally. This country has fallen far behind in terms of where we rank with respect to 14th in reading, 17th in science, and 25th in math. And when we compare where we are internationally to other countries around the world, we've got to get to a higher level. One way to determine the progress that we're making is by getting assessments and measuring on an annual basis. We measure for everything else in life, Frederica. We measure the basketball games being played today. The hoops are being measured.
But you do hear from some parents that all kids cannot be measured the same. All kids do not learn at the same pace. They need different tools, and that this kind of testing, say many of these parents are critics, is that all kids are being treated the same when they really are not, in terms of how they learn.
I think we all respect the fact that children learn differently, but we have to have a snapshot. We have to have a snapshot to understand exactly what's working. New curriculum is tried on an annual basis in our schools. We need to know, when we invest the money, whether that new curriculum is working. Especially as we go down a process here in the Commonwealth and the other states around the nation of trying to provide a more corporate structure to our education system. We need to know, when these changes are being put in place, whether they're working. Testing is a part of assessing what's working and what's not working. We need to, if we're not measuring stuff, we need to be, we got to be serious about this.
Be the last word. Thanks so much, Pennsylvania State Senator Vincent Hughes. Thanks so much for your time. Appreciate that.
Thank you.